People getting used to when you turn this on, it goes crazy. And Susie was doing her class on worship, and her class was very similar to what Chris just said, and she was trying to teach the English folks how to sing in the Spirit. So she had a guitar, and she just kind of played one chord, and she just said, just sing. Whatever comes to you, sing. Yes. And, you know, Susie who was comfortable in that place, you know, was going, and like everybody was like kind of quiet. And I just remember these people with their English, oh Lord. She's trying, oh Lord, Lord, Lord. Oh, no, 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 oh Lord. Oh Lord. And I remember this one, oh, that's very difficult, isn't it? We're not England, we're America. Alright. Alright, where are we? America. Alright, praise God. How we doing? So that guy's going, that looks good. So PowerPoint on 50. So we are at a point in the scripture, and I asked Adonai to help fill in those blanks in my head regarding what I'm going to share. Because I have little points, but I know Adonai has melody in between the words that I've already planned. So, we're at a point in Scripture where we meet a gentleman. His name is, in English, Phineas. Or in Hebrew, it's Pinchas. Everybody say Pinchas.
Pinchas!
In this Torah portion, which bears his name. And he does something amazing, and we know the story with the javelin and these two people that were in sin. And it's an amazing thing that he comes into the picture right now. So you must understand the place we're in the scripture at the time. We're at the end of the journey. We're at the end of the wilderness journey. They're up very close to coming in. And the enemy rises up. And I believe what we see in this Torah portion pertains to the end of time. Because we see certain things in the last few chapters, which is at the end of the walk, the end of the wilderness walk, before they go into the promised land, before they enter that final battle for Jerusalem, certain things happen. The children of Israel, number one, were attacked physically up from the heights, and then they were attacked by two kings of the Amorites. They defeated both of them. So that attack from the enemy did not work on the children of God. So then the enemy changed tactics, and then Bilam tried to curse them, or Balak hired Bilam to curse them. So the physical attack didn't work, so the enemy tried to curse them. That did not work. Adonai put an end to that. He would not allow curse to come onto the people of Israel. So then the enemy tries tactic number 3, where some Midianite women kind of came strolling into the camp with their skirts up. And the children of Israel fell for that. So the attack, the physical attack didn't work. They tried to curse them, didn't work. But then they tried to bring sin into the camp. Adonai allowed it, and the children of Israel succumbed to it. And it wound up causing a plague, and then Pinchas, poor little Pinchas, takes the spear and does this thing. And it's an amazing thing that he does it, because we don't hear from this guy Pinchas all throughout the story, except for one place, which I just realized. And I believe it says something very, very important about all of us. If you rewind the pages, give me your best rewind sound. See, that was between the lines. Wasn't much of a melody, but... So if we go back to the beginning of the story, I'm going to read it. If we go back to the beginning of the story, this is my Bible. If we go back all the way to Moses on the mountain, I mean right at the beginning, when he was just being called to deliver the people from Egypt, way back then, Exodus 6, while he's up on the mountain, God takes a little bit of a redirection, and he starts to list out the names of leaders while he's up on the mountain. Nothing to do, per se, with the actual story of the deliverance from Egypt. He just takes a little detour in the Word, and he starts to list out people's names. And he lists out, and I'm going to read it, and hang in there, because these readings of names can be quite boring. This is on the mountain. These were the heads of the families. The sons of Reuben, the firstborn of Israel, were Hanoch, Palu, Hetzron, and Carmi. These were the families of Reuben. The sons of Shimon were Yemuel, Yamin, Ohad, Yakin, Socher, and Shaul, the sons of the Canaanite woman. These were the families of Shimon. These are the families, the names of the sons of Levi with their descendants, Gershon, Kahat, Merari. Levi lived to be 137 years old. The sons of Gershon were Libni, Shimri with their families. The sons of Kahat were Amram, Yitzchar, Hebron, Uziel, Snoozeville. Kahat lived to be 133 years old. The sons of Merari were Machli and Mushi. These were the families of Levi with their descendants. Amram married Yocheved, his father's sister, and she bore up Aharon and Moshe, Aaron and Moses. Amram lived to be 137 years old. The sons of Yisar were Korah, Nepheg, Zichri. The sons of Uziel were Mishael, Eltzavan, and Sidri. Aharon, Aaron, married Elisheva, daughter of Aminadab, the sister of Nachshon, and she bore him Nadav, Abihu, Nadab, and Abihu, Eleazar, and Itamar. The sons of Korah were Asir, Elkanah, and Avisaah. These were the Korhi families, the families of Korah. Eleazar, the sons of Aaron, married one of the daughters of Petuel, and she bore him Pinchas. Poor little Pinchas. That is the first time we hear of this guy, Pinchas. Way back when. The last to be listed. He must have been no more than a baby at that time. Little baby Pinchas. Oh, little Pinchas. 40-year journey. He experienced as a baby the plagues. He came out. He went through the Red Sea. He saw God as a baby. 40 years. We've gone through almost the entire Torah at this point. The last portion in the book of Numbers is next week. Then we go to Deuteronomy. Like we're hitting the end of this thing. And 40 years, we don't hear boo from this guy Pinchas. He was just somebody named at the beginning, and all these amazing journeys and things that people did, and amazing stories of deliverance and challenge and failure and success. He is nowhere to be found in the story. But all of a sudden, we're at the end of the journey, and sin comes into the camp, and immorality comes into the camp, because the Midianite women came with their little skirts. And then Adonai releases a plague amongst the people. I mean, this is like hell for Moses. Like, he was a rabbi that had the most challenging congregation ever. Yeah. Like, sometimes you guys are going at it with each other. I'm like, well, thank God I'm not Moses. I mean, can you imagine? It's like the end of the journey. They're about to enter into the promised land, and now they've just entered into this horrible sin with sexual immorality, and now God is wiping people out. 24,000 people died. This is a catastrophe. This is a rabbi's nightmare. Holocaust. Can you imagine? I mean, this is a nightmare. I mean, they've gone through all the lessons that they had to learn on their journey. They're close to coming in, but they just screw the heck up. And now God is like pouring out this plague on them. And Moses is standing there like, what do I do? It actually says in the writings of the sages, the Jewish sages, that Moses didn't know what to do because he too was married to a Midianite. And he felt like insecure because what happened was the leader of the tribe of Shimon, shacked up with this Midianite and just did it brazenly. Like, hey, took her up in front of everybody, This is the story. And he takes her into his chamber in front of everybody, right in front of the Mishkahn, said, you know what? I'm doing this in front of everybody. And Moses was like, oh my gosh. Like, what a nightmare experience. All of a sudden, 40 years later, after we first hear the word Pinchas, when he was a little baby, we didn't hear bupkis, we didn't hear boo about him. All this journey, all of a sudden, he somehow spiritually sees the root of this plague and picks up a javelin and kills these two, the son of Simon Simeon and the woman Cosby that he shacked up with, kills them, and the plague goes away. And Ananias says this guy had the zeal of the Lord in him. And to me, I believe that this is something that pertains to the end times. Okay? Number one, we are going to see increased battle because the children of Israel saw increased battle. One of the kings that they had to defeat was named Og. That sounds like Gog, which is an end times battle. That's number one. Number two, the enemy will try to curse, but the enemy does not have power to curse God's kids. But at the end, number three, you will see God will allow sin. It even says at the beginning, sin is crouching at the door, but you can master it. He will allow. He allows sin, unrighteousness we are confronted with it. And I believe that as we're hitting the time of the end, God is allowing it. He is allowing it. Unrighteousness is at the door of the children of God, so we must be mindful of it. I believe He is going to allow it, and we are going to see unrighteousness in these coming weeks and months like we've never seen before. But be mindful, people of God. Learn the lesson from the children of Israel who allowed the Midianite women to come and infect the camp, and then have them become yoked with Baal by doing it. But in comes Pinchas. Poor little Pinchas. We haven't heard boo about him in 40 years. And he comes in with something really crazy and radical and saves the day. I believe that also at the end, God is going to raise up something in God's kids. Something of Him. Because Pinchas, it said he had the zeal of the Lord. And in this time, we are going to see people who you didn't hear boo from. From the beginning. Almost seems like they're just like non-entities in the body of Messiah, but there is no such thing. We are hitting the time that there's a seed that is within each of you that is going to rise up and do something spectacular for the Lord. And we are going to see that. I believe we're going to see that because we are at the times of the end, and that Yeshua within you cannot just be held back. He will rise up. Rise up. He will rise up. He will rise up within you with something. And the people will mock. The Jewish sages also say that after Pinchas did his thing, the people were like, what the heck was that about? What was that? And they started to blame it on his ancestry. Because his mama was a former pagan. And his grandmama was a former pagan. And they're like, aha. This is from like his bloodline. This wasn't from the Lord. This is what the Jewish writings say.